Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event of the evening. Introducing first, from Damansar Uptown, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, weighing in at a couple new newspaper articles. Here's your fellow Uptown lowlife, Cornelius. Wait, why's my soundboard not working? Really? Why is my soundboard not working? Hello? Hello? Why are you not working? Hello? Hooray. So I can press it manually, and my stream deck is on the fritz. Man, are you kidding me? Okay, at least this works. Does this work? Oh, come on! My whipping doesn't work. Yes, and I'm aware of this. I'm aware of this. Really? Really? What is wrong with... I swear, voice mod is like its own worst enemy. Voice mod is its own worst enemy. Why is my stream deck not... Hi, guys. I swear to you I'm having a good day. It's just, you know, setup stuff. Okay. So I think maybe it's about time I start to update my stream deck. That could be the reason. Maybe. Okay, so no sound effects for today. Bloody hell. It was working a second ago before I went live. Pretty sure. Think. Okay. I'm not gonna let my stream deck or my voice mod, especially my voice mod, get in the way of this. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Cafe Cornelius. I am Cornelius, a professional wrestler turned to Butler, VTuber actual service. Today, we have a rather special thing that we want to get into. Something quite unique indeed. But before we get into that, let's just cover a couple things first. Cover a couple things first. Okay, firstly, before we get into this thing right here, welcome, Ref Ryan. It's always good to have you here. Anyone else here? Anyone else here, by the by? Let me just check very quickly on a couple things. Yeah, I really should have. Yeah, I do apologize if I sound a little bit like tired and a bit hoarse. Well, a certain someone was part of well, not part of. I was being a substitute coach this morning, actually. I'm sometimes a substitute coach. I do feel like that's what's the word? I on one hand I am rather honored that I do get to be a substitute coach. On the other, how to explain this? It is a little bit of a burden in a good sense, in that it's something that I'm more than happy to help out with, but it is a burden in the sense that, you know, it's a large chunk of your morning gone, and it's a lot of responsibilities, and especially for today, it was just me coaching for today, and let me tell you, this morning's class was a larger than average class, and so I had to like run around a little bit, like, oh, okay, gotta help you with this. Oh, gotta help you with that. Oh, gotta help fix this. Oh no, don't do that. You know, so a lot of things had to like it was a little helter-skelter, but it's all good. It's all good. Why are you hiding, Jason? Did you do anything wrong? Okay. So, yeah, so that's been my morning, so that's why I'm a little bit... But some good news actually came by in the afternoon, in the form of this. Guess who appeared in the Malay Mail article again? So let me actually link. So actually, two articles, media articles in relation to my PW came out. One of which is actually where I am directly interviewed. Heck, you can even see me right here in the picture. Oh, by the way, how's my volume and how's the video looking like? Is it all right? Hello, Nomo. Hello there. So here's this is the first one. This is the one that I am part of. Good volume. It's good to know. And then here's the second one. So the first one is a little bit about covering sort of like the history of pro wrestling in Malaysia, and I give a little bit of how it's changed over the years, how we've grown in terms of size, in terms of overall skill level, that sort of a thing. The second article that I'm about to link to you guys. Volume's good, thank you for letting me know, Ryan. Which the headline is Pro Wrestler in Malaysia, no experience necessary. Which is a rather strange headline now that I say it out loud. But either way, this one covers on what it's like to what it takes to join a pro wrestling academy and what you should expect from it. So if any of you are curious about joining Malaysia Pro Wrestling, you can read a second article to get a little bit of insight as to what it takes to become a pro wrestler in Malaysia. First article is all about what's the word I'm looking for? Looking back in Malaysia Pro Wrestling's past and paving its way for the future, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm pretty chuffed that we got onto the Malay Mail once again. For those who aren't aware, Malay Mail is one of Malaysia's largest English news sites, actually. So they've been around like forever. You know, at one point, I don't know if this is a weird thing to say to people, but at one point they were an actual physical newspaper. I believe they've stopped physical print publication a few years back because, well, let's face it, the world of journalism has drastically changed over the years, eh? So go check that out. Go check that out, folks. Okay, so put this aside. I'm very happy for that. You know what I had for lunch, guys? You know what I had for lunch? Okay, you have to understand this, right? I'm based in Damansara Uptown. Our Pro Wrestling Academy. How was your afternoon? Busy. Because so our Pro Wrestling Academy is based in KL itself, Kampung Baru, KL. So for those who aren't aware, that's a little bit of a drive. You know, a little bit of a drive. It's not the worst thing in the world, but still a little bit of a drive, especially in the afternoon. And so. You know what I had for lunch as a result? I had just so that I can make in the nick of time for this stream, and just to give myself a little bit of a breather, shower, you know, make myself a cup of coffee because I need it, you know. So yes, I didn't do anything really physical today, you know, nothing crazy. Demonstrated a couple things here and there, but I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't demonstrating anything crazy. Nor did I join in any of the drills for today. Partly because, again, like I said, it was a larger than average class today. So I figured I'll just take myself out of it and focus on coaching. You know, no shower becomes stinky. Exactly. And I needed to, and more importantly, no shower, no cool down. I needed to cool down, man. Especially if, oh man, the weather is so hot today. And when you're in a hot Pro Wrestling Academy with a hot weather, oh god, imagine my room will be like, my room will smell like a jockstrap. No thank you. So I had to shower, grab my coffee, and you know what my lunch was? My lunch was 2 pieces of bread, and a can of tuna. Like, man, I'm so glad I got myself cans of tuna because it makes for a quick and clean meal. Chicken? No, tuna. I'm so jealous that Singapore. You know what they have in the 7-Eleven in Singapore? You know what they have? They have chicken breast. Like literally just a single big piece of lightly seasoned chicken breast. Yeah. So you know, so for folks who want to eat a little bit cleaner, want to eat something healthy, they can just grab that on the go. For me, I have to grab cans of tuna, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, but I sort of have to get it in bulk. Jason, you seem to know a lot about this for some reason. Rather sussy. Yep, can confirm our 7-Eleven sells cooked chicken breast. I'm so jealous, man. For me, I have to like buy protein shakes. And man, protein shakes are pricey. They're good stuff. You know, I appreciate that. I genuinely do. It's a little on the pricey side, so I understand if some folks don't want to go for that sort of strategy, you know? Which is why I'm actually very happy that my new health supplement has come recently, just came by just today. It's not steroids. It's my mass gainer. I'm going back to my whole little mass gainer routine. Tuna sounds yummy. It is yummy. You know, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's some super flavorful, intensely seasoned sashimi or asam laksa. It helps that again, you all know this. I'm quite used to eating pretty clean these days. Again, I will literally eat soft-boiled eggs without seasoning. I might throw in some pepper here, sometime here and there. I say that, but I can't remember when's the last time I did it. So yeah, I ate super clean for lunch because I was running out of time, you know. Like I didn't even have time to take a 15-minute nap. So I'm a little like So I'm trying not to like collapse right now. Okay. But before we get into all that, eating chimkin. Hello there, this you. Welcome. So, a little backstory before we get into our little discussion for the day. So was it a few weeks ago? Yes, it was a few weeks ago. Someone tagged me in something very interesting. It's something that I was tagged in. It's a same sort of social media post that I've been tagged in before. But this was the first time. This was one where it had a lot of details. Yeah, so this was on November 29. I will credit the lovely Power or Project Dreamcatcher who told me about this. So Power is someone I've collabed with before. She's very nice. I'll just where was it? Here we go. I'll just drop this here for you guys. So Power basically, and okay, here's the thing. I get tagged in this more often than not, actually. I guess it comes with the territory of me being, you know, both wrestler and VTuber, right? So Power tagged me in this thing, and she said in the tweet, "You need to do a stream using this template." And my reply to her was, "Lol, I can practically double this list." So here we are. Let's hit to it, shall we? Okay, here we go. Ta-da! Here is the list. So this post was by, I'm not sure if this is the original poster or not, but I found it from Power tagging me on this one here. So let me just tag it for you guys here. So it was on this post here, so this is my little credit to them. If you want to, and I'll add this in the description as well after this stream. But for now, let's focus on this, shall we? So this whole thing is basically making the claim that virtual YouTubers equals professional wrestling. Well, as someone who has been a professional wrestler for the past 7 years, and as someone who has been VTubing for give or take 2 to 3 years, having gone from a PNG tuber all the way to what you see now, having done projects that sort of blurs the line between YouTubing and professional wrestling, combining both, making content based on both. I feel there is no one better to delve deep into this and perhaps even expand upon this than yours lowly. So let's actually focus a little on a couple of things here. Firstly, let me just rearrange a couple things on my monitor, make it comfortable for myself. Beautiful. All right. Okay. So let's start. Let's start, believe it or not, with the top sections here first. Here. As in with the examples given of the VTubers and professional wrestlers. Just so we're clear here, folks. Just so everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows what a VTuber and everyone knows what a professional wrestler is, right? Right? Imagine being on this stream and not knowing what either one is. It's kind of strange. Yeah. No. Quiet you. Okay. All right. So, virtual YouTubers who now for a little context, this is actually, I can sort of see what they're going for here because they've got like a large breadth of VTubers representing different companies, different agencies, and it's the same thing with the professional wrestlers here. Obviously we have Gaugura of Live, and then I think Fruit of VShoujo, and then interestingly enough, we have Subaru of Hololive Japan, so the original branch, so to speak, and then we have Rosemi of Niji Sanji. So a wide breadth of VTubers here, and then this is arguably even more interesting. This is actually pretty clever. This sort of clues me in that this person that made this post, if it is actually shitpost rock, excuse the language, but that's literally the name of the media account that made this, or that posted this at least, that they understand wrestling a lot more than you see, because Mystico, representing CMLL of Mexico, Moose, who's very much a cornerstone wrestler in TNA, one of the largest American wrestling promotions. So they're not indie promotion; they are on television, just on a smaller scale than WWE. And then we have Cody Rhodes of AEW. I said AEW, but I actually meant WWE. So formerly AEW, now WWE. And then, most interestingly, Kazuchika Okada formerly of New Japan Pro Wrestling, but now part of AEW. People obviously still very much associate him with New Japan, of course. So definitely a wide breadth of professional wrestlers here, representing multiple different companies across different continents, even. Yeah. Same thing here. Okay. Before I get into all these points here, I need to point out one little big disclaimer about yours lowly. And that is that, remember folks, not only am I an active VTuber who's very much part of the industry, I'm also an active professional wrestler who is part of the industry. Yes, I have never worked with any of these folks before, but let's just say that if I were to do what's the thing called? Not Chinese whispers. Degrees of separation. If I'm not wrong, I don't think I'm wrong at this. I am, for example, Okada, who was at one point the ace of New Japan, the guy in New Japan. My degree of separation from Okada is 1. 1, okay? With someone like Cody, 2 or 3, you know. So I'm a small fish in a large ocean of professional wrestling, but I'm still part of this, you know, which basically means that yes, I'm going to be deliberately very diplomatic and careful with what I say, you know. I don't mind being critical, providing feedback, because there are issues, there are problems everywhere, you know. But I'm not going to tank my own damn career here, man. Same thing with VTubing. VTubing has all sorts of issues right now. No questions asked on that. It's beginning to spring up for sure. This is not the place to bring it up, nor is it the place for you to vent it out in an emotionally uncontrollable manner. You've been featured in Malay Mill. You don't have the right to say you're small. I'm still small. Trust me. I'm still a small fry. You know, don't get me wrong. Great achievement to be part of Malay Mill. I'm very, very honored, for sure. But I still have a long ways to go. Still have a long ways to go. It's like content creation, and so I'm including pro wrestling into this as well. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. You just gotta keep on. Like when you think of those people that have gotten viral, have gotten big, 95% of the time, they got big because they kept at it, not because they got they got viral in a super lucky way. No, they built their platform, you know. So so many of my fellow VTubers, they built their platform up from scratch. They had to claw the way up into getting more recognition, more followers, yada yada yada, that sort of thing. So I'm not gonna throw it away just because of this list here, which does get a little spicy, especially when we go down here. It gets a little spicy the longer we go down here. But we will get into it. I'm just going to be more careful about it for yours lowly's sake. All right, enough of this diplomatic milquetoast teeter-tolling. Let's get into the first thing, shall we? Virtual YouTubers and professional wrestling. Semi-scripted entertainment for the both of them. What does this mean, semi-scripted entertainment? I mean, wait, how can it be semi-scripted? What's that? I mean, isn't it obvious, guys? I'm reading a script. There's a script right in front of me. I typed all of this out, you know? It helps, I know, ChatGPT helped me type all of this out. It made things so much quicker. I don't have to like spend all night typing out my stream script, so to speak. That makes things so much easier. Psych. Did I get you guys? Yeah, so obviously enough, with VTubing, especially with streaming, it's semi-scripted. I got a plan. I plan a little bit of stuff for this stream, for instance. Do I know how it's gonna go? Nope. I'll just have to keep at it. And you guys are part of what makes this semi-unscripted. Keeps things a little unpredictable, so to speak. But what about professional wrestling? Isn't that scripted? I mean, we all know it's entertainment these days. Imagine if I said otherwise. Of course it's entertainment. But how is it semi-scripted? Once again, this is one of those things where we have to peel back the curtains just a little bit. It is semi-scripted. Today's training that I helped coach in, that was a substitute coach in, I try to not cooperate. Don't worry. Wait, no, you're supposed to cooperate. No, that's part of the thing. I'm not saying that you have to like agree with me on every damn thing, but I'm saying that you guys are part of the entertainment as well. You know. God knows. Everyone knows. It's a bit of an open secret that, let's face it, guys. I'm at my funniest when I am my grumpiest. All of you know this. All of you know that when my buttons are pushed, I am at my funniest. I can be witty and cheeky and as charming as I want right now. But the moment someone pisses me off, no, that's when you guys clip me. That I know. That's when you guys clip me. That's when you guys type away in the chat. Haha, Lois angry. Lois lost his cool. Hee ha, yeah, emoji this, emoji that. No, that's what happens. That's what happens. But okay. So enough of that tangent. So my script, how? Okay, you're gonna find this a little bit insane. Some of you might find this a little bit alarming. You know, because ultimately, pro wrestling is a little bit like it's like watching a action scene live, right? Yes, and that is true. And my understanding is that for a lot of action scenes in cinema, in TV shows, they are meticulously planned, meticulously choreographed. There is a good bit of planning. There is a good bit of choreography, especially in this modern day and age. But is every single little thing planned? No. Sometimes, don't want to say this. I think it's okay if I say this. I can plan an entire match with someone, or let's say of equal experience with me. An entire match, let's say about 10 minutes or more. That can be achieved and I can have a 10-minute long match. And it can look damn near perfect. All I need is about, say, half an hour, 20 minutes of planning. That's all I need to plan a 10-minute long match with all the bells and whistles inside. A full-on story, you know, cool stuff being thrown about, hitting the ropes hard, jumping over the ropes high, maybe even a suicide dive or two. All that in a 20-minute plan for a 10-minute long match. And that can be achieved. And so that's what I mean by semi-scripted. We don't plan everything. We'll plan like maybe the main points, but how do we then fill in all the little details in between? Well, that's when two things come into play, which is what today was all about, actually. Training. Training helps fill in those holes. I can tell you, oh, I want to do this and this, but I don't need to tell you what the in-betweens are, or how you should exactly emote or move, because that is part of your training. What else? Oh, and then there's another factor besides training, and that is let's just say that when people say that wrestling is a little bit like dancing, that we are dance partners with each other, that's not wrong either. I actually take that as a bit of a compliment, because that means that we are communicating. So training and communication are two big factors as to why pro wrestling is considered semi-scripted entertainment. We absolutely do communicate with each other. And a large part of a pro wrestler's training is to be able to fill in the gaps. And so that when we, let's say, get to the arena, we don't have to spend a whole day to plan. or even half a day. It can all be done in a couple hours. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. So yeah, this one. So the first point here, semi-script entertainment. Ding ding ding. No, this would be a better sound effect. Apologies, folks. My sound effect is on the fritz right now. Let me check. Yep, still on the fritz. And I ask, apart from training, how much do you improvise at certain times or when you feel like it's needed? Certainly, if let's say if something were to go awry, something that's not according to plan, yeah, a little bit of improvising is necessary. And also when we want to get the crowd to feel a certain way, a very simple example, instead of doing one move, instead of doing like, let's say, one strike, I will add an extra strike. That's a very simple example, Or another simple example is, when I'm like kicking someone in the back, when I'm stopping on someone, and the crowd is booing, I will actually like yell at the crowd. Like I will actually go to the ropes and yell at them. I've seen some wrestlers, they will outright leave the ring and go to the audience, like into the audience, and threaten them. I've seen that before. How important is improv skills both for VTubing and wrestling? Both are important. Both are important. Especially for, I would say a little bit more for VTubing, because especially if you want to do streaming, a lot of streaming, you best know how to yap. You best know how to think on the fly and adapt. Because you'll never know what technical mishaps there can be. You'll never know, who might stop by in your stream. And you never know what sort of magic could come out if you mess around a little bit, Now, as for wrestling, a lot of wrestlers, I think, are a little spoiled these days when it comes to how to say, because there is a lot of value in planning. Don't get me wrong, absolutely. It's happening more and more than ever. But the ability to improvise in a match is still immensely important. The ability to hear the crowd, adapt your match so that you can get the biggest reaction as possible, entertain them as much as possible. You can only really do that when you know how to work on the fly. Imagine if you just did your entire match as you planned, but halfway through, no one is making a reaction, no one seems to care. And if you don't know how to improvise, then you'll just keep on doing the same thing. And the crowd will still, therefore, be the same. They will still not react, not be interested, because you just did the same old. You kept to your plan, and your plan therefore failed. So you need to change things up a little bit on the fly if necessary. So there really is an art to improvising, and I really hope that it's something that does not go away in professional wrestling. We absolutely need improvisational skills in professional wrestling. It is absolutely necessary. Next up, fictional characters are played by real people. Why, this you? So this is an interesting one. Am I fictional? Is Cornelius fake? Am I fake, guys? Am I fake? Am I fake? Am I fake? Am I fake? Semi. The heck is semi-fake? What? Hello there, random guy. Welcome to Cafe Cornelius. How are you? Are you new here? Well, let me tell you. Does this look fake? Does this look fake? But does this look fake? Oh. Hey. Was that relevant to the story here? I've been lurking here and there. Aw, much appreciated, random guy. Much appreciated. Is there a difference between improv in wrestling and improv in drama, musicals, and skits? Well, if I were to throw a punch in a drama, musical, and skit, I will be arrested. Yeah. That's the biggest difference. In professional wrestling, if you were to improvise like an extra chop or two, extra kick here and there, I will appreciate it. Like it's like professional wrestling is the only place where I try to punch, it gets blocked, and I get slapped. Like hard ass slap. And I'm like, yes, I love this. This is exactly what we want. Only in professional wrestling. Only in professional wrestling. You mean you can't punch the antagonist? It's improv. It's improv. There's no improv in... Have you guys seen an improv show before? There really isn't an antagonist per se. There's someone you're working off of, and maybe they might be in the more antagonistic role. But I think if you were to actually punch the person, like improvise a punch on that person, and I mind you, when I say a punch, I mean like full-on physical punch. Yeah, the whole show stops, the police are called, your fellow actor is crying because he feels betrayed, and you're in the lockup. You're legally allowed to hit someone without consequence. It is sort of expected in professional wrestling. Damn, I want to punch this villain from this drama my mom watches. That's a... Maybe not. Okay. I can actually cover a little bit about that in this second point here. The antagonist is the audience? No, they paid tickets to watch the show. We don't antagonize the audience. We don't touch the audience members. I know a lot of wrestlers are very tempted to touch the audience members. Don't. That is like the number one thing. Do not. With some exceptions. But in large, do not. So you don't really miss anything for Yuki. You did not. The first point is that both are semi-secret entertainment. Absolutely true. I've also linked two Malaysia articles of which Malaysian Pro Wrestling was featured, one of which I've been interviewed in. I will post more on this on my socials fairly soon. I think I also posted one of the Malaysian articles in my community post on YouTube. You can check it out. The heels are antagonists and the faces are protagonists, right? Yes. Simple as that. I love the fact your viewers are neuroactivated whenever violence is mentioned. I've trained you lot well. That pose was fabulous. What pose? I do a lot of poses. What the heck was that? Anyways, so yeah, so yes, there is a difference between improv in wrestling and drama musical skits. Like we encourage violence in professional wrestling. I took this snug, stiff strike from this young up and coming chap. I was like, oh yes, give me more of that. The post was fabulous in the newspaper. Oh yes. Welcome, Sushi. Welcome to Cafe Cornelius. Yes. For those who aren't aware, actually, let me go. Okay, 1 second. Actually, let me go grab it. I can actually just grab just very quickly. I can do this, and then do this. So this is the one that Subaru was referring to. So this is me and I guess this is one of my trademark poses. My corner handstand pose. Oh, I've been doing this for years and years. You gotta mention the do not try this at home, my dude. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I always forget about that. Yes. Because like pro wrestling is my home, So I will always try this at my home. I am the exception of where I'm supposed to keep on doing this because I, in some ways, do view my PW my home. Yeah. Is that so? Man, that is so sentimental by me. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, pro wrestling is a dangerous activity. Please do not try this at home. Thank you. There, okay, PSA done. All right, let's get back into the juicy stuff, shall we? So, fictional characters. This gets a little dicey, especially when like trademarks and IPs get involved. Like for instance, so I think this is a little bit easier with VTubing because VTubing, especially when it comes to agencies, yeah, they're all it's an IP. Galgura is a part of Hololive. It's a trademark of Hololive. Same thing with Subaru, same thing with Rosemi. V-Shoujos, I'm actually not too sure on how that works. I'm not sure if the VTubers themselves own the trademarks. So in that sense, it's sort of fictional, They've got lore, they've got wacky, crazy designs. And this is something that I've noticed that a lot of people just don't seem to realize. Yeah, we're real people. Duh. I think pro wrestling is a bit unique with face heel turns though, or the frequency anyways. I've seen one or two in anime, but not like on a regular basis. Every story has a protagonist and antagonist. What makes pro wrestling really unique with that? What makes pro wrestling really unique when it comes to protagonist and antagonist is that more often than not, the antagonist can sometimes outright be the main character. They can sometimes be the dominant force. You need them to almost and they do serve a very, very particular purpose. Like for example, some stories where, let's face it, you almost don't need an antagonist. Like say like a slice of life anime, you don't really need an antagonist for that, But if you want things to get more dramatic, ramp things up, move the story along, that's when you bring the bad guy as the catalyst. That's the reason maybe why all this happens. With pro wrestling, because we are such an intense activity of fighters, of warriors, of trying to get the win. Yeah, it makes sense why you will have bad guys. Why bad guys are so inherent and they are an intrinsic part of this sports entertainment. So in some cases, like it almost like you're almost arguably more valuable as a antagonist than a protagonist in certain situations. Some companies sold the IP to the graduating talents lately. Yes, but that's not the case all the time. Certainly not for cases like some of the larger companies. Like we're witnessing this with something like Hololive. Amelia Watson recently sort of graduated. Well, in other words, became an affiliate. Same thing with, I think Fauna is outright graduating, but they are not. But I don't think Fauna's or Amelia Watson's IP was sold to their respective VTuber. Why? Don't ask me. I haven't even peaked 1K subscribers yet. So girls liking bad boys isn't a myth. You don't need. I don't think we need pro wrestling to answer that question. This you. So a lot of people sometimes take for granted, is what I'm saying. A lot of people take for granted that all these VTubers with all their wacky designs and their extraordinary larger-than-life personalities are real people behind the mask. A lot of people don't realize it. I think it doesn't help that of the rise of AI and boomers just absolutely being unable to recognize if something is AI generated or not. I've mentioned this before. I've had this relative literally could not tell that what was very obviously to me a CGI generated plane crash was clearly CGI. She could not tell the difference. So a lot of people are getting fooled that, oh, they think this is AI and stuff like that. And a lot of people in some ways almost dehumanize VTubers in a way. Like, let's face it, mankind has been dehumanizing entertainers for centuries and centuries. But with VTubers, a lot of people there is a bit of a myth that that all these are that behind all these girls, they're actually old men and all that. And so it gets a little dehumanizing in that sense, you know. I'm someone who is actually a 34-year-old Asian man, you know. I'm clearly not a girl. No. Me working at a VFX studio. And then there's folks who actually works on the VFX studios that, okay, maybe those who works in animation studios, y'all can tell when something is CGI or AI generated. Basically, most of the VTuber asset will be lost media. It's sad because there are some awesome models that will be lost into obscurity. Here's a hot take. Some VTubers are okay with that. Some VTubers, let's say if they're graduating from their respective company, they want to move on. They want to move on from their past. They're glad it's happened. But they want to move on to their own projects. Maybe they do something different entirely. Maybe they do become a new VTuber, but their own thing, you know, something that they own themselves. So if it becomes lost media, it's lost media. The pilot that's piloting that VTuber model for all those years, if they're okay with it, why can't you? If I look closely enough, I can see if it's AI. That's the thing, no. I am guesstimating that you're a young lad or young chap. You can tell. Those who are a little bit, especially on the older side, oh my god, they can tell. The fact that that VTubing is such a new concept, and the fact that it's such an alien concept to a lot of people, there'll be a lot of misunderstandings. So much misunderstandings. Yeah. Oh yeah, we haven't even touched the professional wrestling side. Fictional characters are played by real people. And this one is a little more, I would say this one is a little more on the grayer side. To an extent, yes. To an extent. Because there are some folks where, yes, including myself, I would say that I wouldn't say that the real me is what you see on the ring. There is a little bit of a change. You'll hear this often enough in professional wrestling. A character that you can play is a character that is you, but turn up to 11. You turn up to 11 is the pro wrestling version of you. That is definitely true enough for certain people. And there are certain people where they do use their real names for professional wrestling, you know? That's actually a lot more uncommon than you think, but it does happen. For me, I'm not gonna say it. Definitely for something like the Kane, the Undertaker, you know, those are definitely fictional characters, all right. And so again, it's the same thing, you know. Once the Undertaker retired, he's Mark Calloway, that sort of a thing. So wait, you're not a villain Butler IRL? I didn't say that. You've seen me IRL. Some of you guys have seen me IRL before. Of course I'm a villainous Butler in real life. I wouldn't have it any other way. I think what's arguably more important than saying that these are fictional characters played by real people is that these are real people first and foremost. We forget about this sometimes, you know. We take for granted the efforts that it takes to become a professional wrestler. Like it's like, oh, it takes like so long just to even debut, and to be the best possible wrestler that you can be, that takes years. You think all these people that are in WWE right now, they got in just by sheer talent alone? No. Never. Would love to though. I might talk a little about how you can see me IRL in due time. So yeah, in a certain way, I do agree with this. It is fictional characters that are played by real people, to an extent, especially with professional wrestling. Wait, wait, no, wait. With VTubing, I can agree with this a lot more because again, we're literally becoming anime. With professional wrestling, however, for some folks, it barely even feels like they're a different character altogether sometimes. Like what you see them in the ring and then what you see them like after the show, for instance. Sometimes it's the same exact person. Sometimes. True, like for the longest time, I thought that the great Kali was not proficient in English. To my surprise, man's a great actor and can speak English. Yeah. Sometimes it is outright like piloting a flesh tuber model. Sometimes it really is. Sometimes pro wrestlers really are just flesh tubers, where something like the Undertaker, the Kane, even Great Khali, you think they are a certain way, but in real life, oh. And Jason, I'm not even going to dabble with this particular question of yours. All I'll say is that it's bound to happen. It was bound to happen. Maybe it's not in good taste these days because that particular person was so closely associated. Hey, don't retract the question. Don't retract. I'm reading that. Oi, I was reading that. Coward! You put that question back. Put that question back in the chat. Deleting it in front of my face when I'm reading it. Really? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't a company attempt that? Yeah. I know. It seems like I sound like such a show sometimes when it comes to agencies and companies, but you have to understand how a business operates is different from how an individual operates. It's different from how a fan operates. It's almost like three different things happening at the same time. They're almost three completely different things. So you can't. So a business will have a business, aka an agency or a wrestling promotion, will have an almost entirely different perspective on maybe a fan, even though they should think about the fan, and they do think about the fans these days, which is why you see your question of whether of another person replacing that VTuber model. You almost never see it happen these days, just because it does come off a little bit in poor taste, because they are so associated with that model, which is why I think like something like Whole Life, I doubt unless it was under some extraordinary circumstance, I don't think we'll ever see that again. And then I got very confused when Triple H married Stephanie. I was like, it's just a storyline. Went on watching hiatus and was like, huh? They're married IRL? And sometimes fantasy blends into reality. Hey, look at the third point. Perfect segue. Character personalities are often extensions of the real person playing them. Now this... Okay. You might be surprised by my answer on this one. Essentially, I would say this is definitely more the case for professional wrestling than for VTubing. Yes, they thought it would be the same as movie actors. We can hire a new actor to play the part and learn that fans rebelled. Yeah. Again, Jason, we're stopping this particular topic right now because that's getting into more private territory, and my channel is not a part of that at all. Even though I'm a pro wrestler. But I'm a pro wrestler, but a VTuber that wears a mask. Like, I could have debuted as a VTuber that doesn't wear a mask, but I still wear the mask even as a VTuber. Can you tell how, like, So I'm someone that does very much protects their privacy a little bit. Yeah. So it's a very delicate thing to tackle. In one aspect, it's awesome that you're able to see more and the character behind it. To some extent, on the other hand, it feels like you're watching a doppelganger. Yeah. Okay, you stop it too, Subaru. You stop it too. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite about this. Everyone stop it. Nah. Okay, so what do I mean by this when I say that this is? I would agree this is more the case for pro wrestling than VTubing. You have to understand. With professional wrestling, you yourself, your own fleshy body is out there in the ring. I'm not piloting some sort of flesh model, some fleshy miniature-sized, human-sized Titan, like in Attack on Titan. You know, I'm not controlling anything like that. If that was an option, I would have 100% take it, because then I don't have to sacrifice my own body, and risk my own already compromised spine for professional wrestling. That's not how this works. So because I'm out there physically, my wrestler personality, me as Cornelius Lowe, it is very much an extension of me out there, in a way. That's for sure. No, that's not to say that some wrestlers can't do a complete 180. I've seen it. I've seen some wrestlers where they're actually very polite, very meek, very demure. But once the ring bells, they literally become a monster, and they are horrifying, and they come off incredibly intense and just unbelievably powerful. But that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of practice. So it can happen. But with VTubing, on the other hand, remember, you get to play an anime character. You get to live that fantasy, baby. So if you want to be a horny gal, if you want to be a sexy a husbando, hell, if you want to be a murderous psychopathic moth girl in the virtual world, that's where it can happen. And therefore, you can definitely mess around with this a lot more. Maybe it's like, maybe your more sultry side comes out in VTubing. Maybe maybe you are much more extroverted in VTubing as opposed to in real life. You know, all that can be done because of the how do I say this? Because of the power of anonymity. You are, unless with some exceptions, unless if you are fully hidden behind a VTuber model. You know, you are fully hidden behind a VTuber model. So you can almost mess around with it more. You can become almost like a 180 personality for certain. I'm not gonna name drop anyone. I'm not gonna reveal it, but let's just say that I've been in this long enough where I can definitely see this being the case with certain people. With some people, definitely it can be just be an extension, you know. For sure. When you stand up. Wiggle. Okay, next one. Oh, spicy. We're getting to spicy territory now, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting to spicy territory now. This one right here. Lines often blur between the realms of fiction and reality. Is this the same case with VTubing as well? What do you guys think? Now, in an ideal world, yeah, in a way. I feel that VTubers already tried to keep up kayfabe and say, yeah, I'm a cat girl from space, but now more are willing to talk about their IRL personal lives. To that, I will say, I hope that people aren't feeling. I hope that my fellow VTubers, they don't feel pressured into doing so. I hope they don't feel pressured into doing so. Because, and let's face it, it's like you're almost like rewarding your fans, your viewers, when you like telling them something that actually happened to them, something that happened to them in real life. No, yes, I'm a cat girl from space. I actually went to this coffee shop nearby and I had all these yummy, tasty drinks. It was great, loved it. You know, it feels like you're almost like it feels like they're almost rewarding you in that sense. And let's face it, I do the same as well. In fact, that's a big part of my channel. You know, I talk about how I go through my wrestling training. I talk about my experiences in wrestling. But that's partly deliberate. My IRL is a huge foundation of my content. And for some folks who's maybe the content is, let's say, all centered on gaming, all centered on illustrating, I do hope that that they don't feel so pressured as to reveal every single thing, because then they will basically be be going against one of the quasi tenets of VTubing, which is that they get to be borderline anonymous. If you want to have a more private life, but you want to stream, VTubing is one of the ways to go. You can create your own character, You can create your own character. You can create this whole new world. And I think that's bloody fantastic. That's one of the reasons why, like, Hololive Ian was so successful in the first place, she's a Reaper rapper. She's a singing stinky shark, she's a time traveling detective. That's such good fun. So if there's any folks that absolutely does want to keep things anonymous, yeah, keep things anonymous. That's fine. For me, I'm more fond of some that likes to break the fourth wall with the RP. That there is drawing a thick line boundary between reality and keeping it fictional. There's value to that for certain. Partly because, and let's face it here, there's a little bit of an issue with stalking, and fans who seem to push buttons, seem to bend the rules, and seem to try to get away with things, even when they shouldn't. Am I pointing out anyone? Am I being too passive aggressive here? I don't know. Can't you all be your own judge? Yeah. So yeah. Unfortunately, with VTubing, it's sort of becoming the case where things are getting a little more blurry as more people understand that there are actual people behind the model, that sort of a thing. As for pro wrestling, so there's two folds to this. One, the nature of pro wrestling itself means that the lines will be blurred. How so? Think of it this way. Look at what we do in the ring. Even if it's the simplest of matches, even if you're training very simply, and I've seen this too. Like, for example, a great example I can give right now. Cody Rhodes. Do you know that famous cage match of his against Seth Rollins, where he won, but even though he had a torn pec, like a gigantic bruise across his chest? Do you know how he injured himself? He injured himself in the gym. He tore his pec in the gym, lifting something way too heavy for his own good. It wasn't part of the storyline. No. It wasn't something that he did to self-inflicted. It was by sheer accident. And so, because of that, and because they are main eventing the show, they had to continue on. You know? They had to continue on. No. Yeah. They sort of had to continue on. But then they had to add that factor that Cody torn his pectoral muscle into part of the story against Seth Rollins. So sometimes the lines are blurred in professional wrestling because reality sometimes creeps onto fiction so incredibly hard. You know, sometimes that can be the case. Unfortunately, a lot of IRL stuff that happens heavily affects kayfabe, heavily affects the fiction. You know, if this person is injured, the story has to change, take a detour. You know, that kind of a thing. Something like the New Day. Initially, it seemed like they were going one certain way because they had this third man that came in to help them out for a little bit. But then this third man of whose name I won't mention, and I'd rather not mention, wasn't part of the WWE anymore. They had to change the story up just a little bit and tweak things here and there. So sometimes you don't have to change too much, and then sometimes you have to change a lot. The Cody thing is actually a minor example. I'm talking about if someone were to, sorry to say, suddenly pass away. Like someone like Brody Lee of AEW fame. Or even like someone like Bray Wyatt. You know? They both passed away. And therefore, all the storylines involved with those two, and mind you, they were major players in their respective companies. All that had to change as a result. You know? Something that what's the word? Something that I kind of wish that I did more. And something that I wish that more VTubers do is to just focus on your own damn content. What do I mean by this? Like, look, let's face it. Me covering this sort of a thing, this sort of social media post, makes a lot of sense. Pro wrestler, VTuber. So I will end up covering what is the IRL, the behind the scenes things, just a little bit. Tease y'all a little bit with it. Mess you up with y'all a little bit. But man, do I enjoy VTubers that just sort of goes into their own kayfabe, sinks into their own lore, you know, create original songs based on their lore, do all sorts of crazy shenanigans directly because of what they are as a VTuber. I love that. More reason to watch behind the scenes when they interview said wrestler and ask them to review what actually happened during the match. I'll say one thing about this though. I get why that's fascinating. It's almost like you're watching like a director's cut. Like you're hearing the director's commentary of a movie. I get that. I absolutely get that. But man, sometimes I wish that the product itself can stand on its own two legs, you know, without having to resort to it. I get that all these behind the scenes stuff, all these these behind the scenes covering interviews, gets on all these nitty-gritty because that's interesting. But yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It breaks suspension of disbelief. I want to enjoy purely the product itself, as opposed to having to resort to knowing what happens behind the scenes. So in that sense, yeah. This lines often blur between the realms of fiction and reality is very much a thing for both VTubing and pro wrestling. In fact, usually, it is reality that blurs the lines between fiction and reality. Not to say that fiction can't affect reality. After all, I believe that Stephanie and Triple H was put in the storyline first, and then they got married. But for the most part, it's usually reality affecting the fiction. Usually. There's some controversy where fans scold VTubers for showing their flesh human bodies. These sort of fans can go sleep on a bed of rusty nails. It's their choice if they wish to show their flesh bodies. Hell, you want to see my flesh body right now? Look at these push-ups. Look at them. Yeah. Look at that form. Now, with that being said, I can sort of understand this sort of sentiment because if you've built up your entire brand to be very immersive, you do a lot of ASMR stuff, girlfriend effect, blah 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 blah. And then suddenly you were to show a human body, I can see how that can be a bit disconcerting. With that being said, still their choice. And if you were to be so privileged and uppity about it, you need to reflect on yourself as a human being. Who would you say is the Stone Cold of VTubers? Hachama. Ooh, 6-packs. Where? This? You don't even see me. You don't even see me shirtless here. What? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What have you been looking at? Ooh, someone has an Amazonian woman on another screen and just typed away on my chat. Okay, next up. Fans get invested in storylines and the people behind them. True. It's a little more obvious with professional wrestling, but it does happen in VTubing too. But what sort of storylines am I referring to? One big example that comes to me right now, a lot of people didn't really notice it as a storyline, even though it sort of is. Y'all know, and this is so dorky of me to explain this. Y'all know, Muna Hoshinova and Usada Pecora. Y'all know those two. They're both of Hololive. They're both different branches. Usada Pecora is Hololive JP. I believe she's the most viewed Japanese VTuber right now. I could be wrong, but she's huge. Then there's Muna Hoshinova. Basically in some ways like the diva singer of a Hololive ID. One of Hololive's best singers. Unfortunately, she's also a comedian by nature of it being part of Hololive Indonesia. I actually want more storylines in VTubing. I feel like so many VTubers have interesting lore, which hardly gets touched most of the time. Well, you're in luck because I touch my lore all the time. If you were to see, let's say, my debut video, man, that's my autobiography right there. That is my autobiography. Literally 100% of that video happened IRL. So you're looking at lore in action right now. A wrestler VTuber is talking about wrestling and VTubing at the same time. I'm literally doing what you want. 3 cheers for me! But Okay. But getting back to Muna and Pecora. So that was a storyline, but not like something that was put on pen and paper. It was a naturally occurring storyline where what's the word I'm looking for? Where I don't know who, I can't recall exactly how it was, but Muna really wanted to do more stuff in Minecraft with Pekora, and then Muna kept calling Pekora Shacho, aka President, and then Pekora kept, whenever she wants to call Muna, she would say, "Hey Muna," something like that, and they became fast friends. And when they collabed for the first time ever, just the two of them, it was like one of Pecora's like most viewed streams ever during that time. Actually, let me check right now. Is it still one of our most viewed streams? Because I remember the concurrent views for that stream was unbelievable. Let me see. Is it actually still toppy tops? Love that by accident that there is a Japanese folklore on rabbits and moon princess. So Muna and Pokora was like a match made in heaven. Exactly. Actually, I thought it was a Chinese thing. It's a Chinese mythology thing. Could be Japanese as well. Jeez, Pecora's huge. Let's see. Wow. Not even in top 10. Yep, that's how big Pecora is. Gee, so many of her streams have over 1 million views. That is insane. Yeah, Pecora is huge. VTubers and pro wrestling, that's two of my favorites. Welcome back, Elena. To Cafe Cornelius. So that's what I mean. They are naturally occurring ones. Whereas with professional wrestling, maybe, I mean, there can be like stories that will naturally develop, as matches go on by. But by the by, there are stories being devised, deliberately designed by the wrestling promotions. So arguably, a pro wrestling is more like a TV show or a movie than VTubing. With certain exceptions, like for example, Whole Life had two great examples where they did a Minecraft roleplay server, where they were, in some ways, being alternate universe versions of themselves. And then there was also a Whole Life. There was also the GTA server, a Holo GTA. Yes, exactly. Where they were a little more casual. It's still them, but they were very much playing to their roles of police officer, medic, hot dog delivery person. I think Rainy was part of a food delivery shop, I think. Honestly, wouldn't have got back into wrestling if it weren't for VTubers. Funny, huh? Really? How? Why so, Adams? I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that. I can see the correlation. How so? Muna Rainy Burger. Yeah. I see. I would live a VTuber wrestling universe. Who says there isn't one? Give me time to cook. Ladies and gents. Give me time to cook. I've been saying that a while. I really should get it going. It was that one Q&A stream with Miles. Oh, wow. Really? Wait. Which one? Was it on my channel or was it on his channel? I think I know which one you're talking about, but that was a while ago. Don't know if I can say this, but the most recent successful stories in VTuber stuff is the Enrico. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's that Minecraft server that I was referring to. This channel. Ah, okay. I know what you mean. Yeah. I believe. Oh, let me have a quick look. What was the name of that stream? That was so long. That was so long ago. My goodness. It's actually at this point it's one of my oldest streams now. My good gravy. Let me see. I think this was slightly after I debuted, I think. What was it called? Or was it before my debut? Yes, indeed, Elena. I am cooking. You'll see. I've got all sorts of stuff planned. Oh man, looking at my old channel, I'm getting so nostalgic. Where was it now? No, not that one. The VTuber story I like is the Tempest Armis Law and the Elysium World. Ah, those are the boys. I think. Tempest and Armis. Yeah. Those are the Polar Stars boys. My boys. My dudes. I actually watched them, you know. Like, is it weird for me to say as a male VTuber that I watch male VTubers? I like them. They're cool. It's like a different feel. I can definitely say without a shred of doubt that a male VTuber stream definitely feels a little different from a female VTuber stream. Not to say there can't be like cross-gender stuff, but the vibes of a male can be like a female and vice versa. But I like that. Variety. I love me some variety. Fans getting invested in storylines and the people behind them. They do. And sometimes to an obsessive level indeed. They get it gets a little obsessed sometimes. It's somewhat a good. It's somewhat a double-edged sword. Because you know what wrestling promotion, what VTuber agency wouldn't want people to be obsessed and invested in their brand and product. I want you guys to be invested and a fan of me. That's for damn sure. But do I want you guys to like dox me? Do I want you guys to stalk me, touch me inappropriately? No. And that's actually the difficult thing with when you are like a larger VTuber. Sometimes these things that are smaller VTuber that can constantly remind you guys of, hey guys, don't touch me here, don't touch me in my no square, don't try to find me IRL. Sometimes with larger VTubers, they are so wrapped up in their own activity, making the content, because you know when you're bigger, you're busier, and you are so focused into making sure your streams are going right that you sometimes forget that that there can be some bad actors in your fan base. You know, it can't be helped. You overlook it because you're so busy with other priorities, you know. So you gotta be careful about that. Oh, what stream was it, Adams? I was watching how JBL gave Eddie Guerrero's grandma a heart attack in kayfabe when he actually had to be police escort out of town. Pros and cons to that, I guess. Indeed. These days, even in modern wrestling, we're actually, I would argue, we're more mindful than ever about these sort of things. Where yes, it is sort of good to be able to like mess around with the audience members a little bit. But you need to be careful with that so that you don't end up, you know, working them to the point where they are going up, where they backfire against you. I think a great example is something like that incident in ECW where there was this one wrestler. I don't know. I think the crowd got so hyped up in ECW that when this one wrestler yelled out, "Hey, throw me a chair!" Everyone started throwing chairs into the ring, and the whole match had to be stopped because it was more chairs than people in the ring. It was more chairs in the ring than you can see the mat, you know? So it got to that point. It got to that point. Mm. Oh, excuse me. 1 year ago titled, You Want to Be a Pro Wrestler? Or something? Let me check this. Oh wait, is it the one where the thumbnail is Crystal super kicking me? That's hilarious. I think parasocialism exists in both. Parasocialism thrives in both. VTubing and professional wrestling are the perfect breeding grounds for parasocialism. Reminds me of the more rabid aunties that would join membership just to pass the hate easier. Yeah, that's the thing. Malaysian audience seems more respectful of the rules. I noticed people wanted to insult the heels, but they looked around awkwardly and sat down again. How to be a heel in polite society? It's more like people aren't sure how far they can take it. Because let's face it, Malaysia has a little bit of a ini tak boleh ni culture, where we're a little more on the moderate side, a little more conservative. So you can't expect people to behave like Americans when you're not Americans themselves. That kind of a thing. And that's fine. Honestly, sometimes that's by design and how good the wrestler is. I happen to think that I'm a damn good heel. If I want people to boo me the whole night, I can absolutely do that. Exhausting for me, but I can absolutely do it. So I would say with professional wrestling, they do get invested in storylines, but that's because that's by design. Whereas with VTubing, it's almost like it has to naturally occur because we don't really do storylines, unless if it's something like a role play server. Then absolutely. Something like Enrico or Holo GTA, those are some excellent examples. And part of the reason why Hololive did them in the first place, because it creates more interesting and unique scenarios. So those two were resounding successes. But, and here's the issue with them. Something like Hololive can get away with it because it's Hololive. They're the biggest VTubing agency in the world at this point. So they can get away with it because they've got the manpower for it. In a wrestling promotion, you've got all these wrestlers to be part of your story, creating storylines that you want. When you're a VTuber, let's face it, I'm my own VTuber in my own channel. How am I supposed to create a storyline when it's just me? Speaking of which, true, one does not simply state that their mother is green in a crowd. Has that been yelled in a Malaysian pro wrestling event before? I'm pretty sure I've heard this in a Singaporean wrestling event before. You have to remember, Singaporean Malays is a large minority in Singapore. So I am very certain I have heard Makau Hijau in a Singaporean wrestling show before. I don't think it was directed at me, but I definitely know it's been yelled before. I'm pretty sure. Lol. I remember that when I went to Causeway Gem, Singapore, the Singaporean crowd was so cruel. They kept yelling 3.5 at the Malaysian wrestlers. It was so funny. I love it. But when it's just me, so hard sometimes to create storylines because what do I even do? Be my own monologue? That's crazy. It sounds like I'm a crazy person, Oh, speaking of which, hold on, folks. Let me just grab something very quickly. I'll grab something very, very quickly. Just 1 second, folks. Let me just see. Okay. 1 second, folks. I'm back very soon.
Con went to go poo-poo. Con went to go poo-poo. Hi. It's been a while. You guys remember me? I'm Cornelius. Everyone, how's everyone doing? VTuber storylines are a lot shorter and result like almost one-shots. What's a one-shot? Is that like one bullet for one head? Is that what you mean? A slime. I am a slime. I am Cornelius. Which do you prefer? Having a written fleshed out law or a simple law that you get to expand as you grow your channel? I like flesh. I like to eat flesh. Sometimes Cornelius will throw chicken bones at me and there'll be flesh on it and I get to slowly digest it in me. And it feels like I'm fermenting. And then I will let Cornelius hear the fermenting inside me. And so I will shove my slimy body into his face and let him hear me fizzing. Zzz, zzz. And then Cornelius will like, well, and then try to rip his head out of my slimy body. And then he'll kick me. I don't know why, I'm just sharing my body. These are interesting questions. Give me more questions. Hi, it's you. How are you, do? How are you doing? I can hear Cornelius is very constipated. He's trying to poo. How do you feel about the latest low match, Cornelius? Oh, is that the match where he went up against Burning Raj? I saw a little bit about that match. Actually, I'm not supposed to. Con was like, no, I'm not showing the event. I'm tired. Leave me alone. Luckily, I know the password to his computer. Don't tell him I said that, though. Don't tell him I said that. Doesn't know that I know the password. And so I watched it. He lost the Blazing Rod. It was very funny. He lost it in such a silly way. He tried to roll up a bigger wrestler. That's so funny. Yeah. And then he hugged him. So he became very, oh, wow. Sometimes I think that Cornelius is secretly very ooh. He's just very soon about it. He's a tsundere about it. Yeah. Opinion on boneless chicken. It's okay. I like what is the word I am wording? I like the opposite of boneless chicken. I like meaty chicken. Meaty chicken is yum yum. Sometimes I will chase after the chickens when they still have feathers. I go paka paka paka. And then, it's like Cornelius or Cordelia. They'll be like, no, don't eat the chickens. Those are your chickens. Those aren't our chickens. And then I'm forced to spit them out. What do you mean they aren't our chickens? I found them. Therefore, I can chase them. Yeah. What is this chat devolve into? What is devolve? I am primordial. I am what? Everything
devolves into.
He's very baby boy. Yes, Cornelius is sometimes is baby girl. Cornelius is a baby girl. He thinks that he is Sigma. That is Cap. That is Cap. He is baby boy or baby girl. I like to say baby girl. He's like a baby girl. Sometimes Cordelia will call him baby girl, and he'll blush, and then he'll like, and then Cordelia will like, and then I'll be like, and then Cornelius will like, oh, what are you doing here? Get out of here! Get out of here! And then I get shooed out of the room. I don't know why.
Wait. Who's that? Who's that? Hey, who's that? Oh my God! Where's my pants? Where's my pants? There's someone in my room. Oh, there's someone in my room.
Oh, I better slink away now. Don't tell him that I that one of the crevices in his room I can just slide into. Yay! Okay, bye guys. Bye. Keep me secret. Keep me secret, or I will devour you all. Bye-bye.
Why? Who? Did someone jam my door or something? Hold on. Wait. Chat, sorry. I just had to, yeah. 1 second. Hold on. And, okay. Okay. I'm so sorry about that. What happened? We want Slimelius to go jump Raj. Slimelius? I went to the toilet to relieve myself of my terrible constipation because I've been taking yogurt for the past few days. And so, no, I'm not going to blow a gasket. I am not going to blow a fuse. No! That's my wallet. I will deal with that little slimy later. Let's keep this going, folks. Let's keep this going. He's Barry Baby Boy FR. What is this Zoomer talk? Who's part Barry? What are you talking about? Things you guys say sometimes. I just do not comprehend. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's get to the final point. Let's get to the final point indeed. Okay. So this, I'm gonna have to adjust this shit. Aren't I? Okay. So. Alright. This part here, I'm gonna have to be very, very careful. Oh. Okay, these two things. Yeah. Biggest VTubers companies' pride and joy is a cute dog. Same thing with professional wrestling. So this is a rather interesting and very, very specific, one. I'm gonna have to explain both of them because I don't think everyone here understands this. So, biggest VTuber company's pride and joy is a cute dog. In other words, Inugami Korone. In other words, Korone-chan. She is a dog VTuber. She bakes. she boxes, and she's very cute, and she is very much like very dog coded. Apparently, very very dog coded, and she's very she's a doggo. Well, who's that dog in the wrestling side? This year is Roman Reigns. In some ways, he's kind of like, it's kind of like the new Rock in a way. He used to be part of the Shield, like a very very dominant faction in WWE, give or take 10 years ago. And when he went out to do his own thing, one of his nicknames is the Big Dog. For some reason. Yeah, so so even to this day, he is still seen as one of the guys in WWE. So he's been like at the forefront of the main card of WWE for years and years and years. Which side, like the mascot or more like a wrestling celebrity? I would say that in some ways this is referring to who's like their aces, their top stars, their top entertainers, their top wrestlers. I can kind of agree with both actually. These days, Roman Reigns really isn't really called the Big Dog anymore. In fact, he's called the OTC, the original tribal chief. So for a good long while now, he's got this whole tribal chief gimmick, you know, wearing the ulafala, being head of the family. That's been his shtick for the past several years now, actually. So like he's someone that's been like in many ways the face of the company for a long time. Even when people kind of didn't want him to be initially, it was basically at a point where, and Cornelius never had this issue. She never had this issue. A thing with Roman Reigns that he's an interesting study in that WWE tried to push him as the face of the company for so many years, but because he was sort of relentlessly shoved down our throats, where it was basically he was overexposed, he was used for every single thing. Sometimes it felt like he was. I get that WWE wants like a main character in their program, but you know, by nature of wrestling being an ensemble show, it did felt like Roman Reigns was shoved down our throats for so many years that a lot of people rejected him initially. And it was only when he adopted this whole tribal chief gimmick and embraced a more heelish side to Roman Reigns that people actually then turn around on him. Especially these days where, you know, he's still often featured, don't get me wrong, still actively wrestling, but nowhere as overly exposed as in the past, as in several years ago, that people actually turned around on him much more. Like people were, it's sort of a weird thing. Only in pro wrestling would you be happy that someone became a villain. Only in pro wrestling would you be happy that the villain won. It's such a unique thing to pro wrestling, where you almost have to see things outside of perspective. Where like, there's this guy who is like the bad guy, but you see him lose again and again and again and again, and you're like frustrated with it because no, he's a good wrestler, he's a good heel, he should win something. Then he'll get credibility. And mind you, I'm not referring to even Roman Reigns. I'm referring to someone like Shinsuke Nakamura, where he kept losing and losing and losing. But recently, he actually won the WWE United States Championship. People thought he wasn't going to, and then he did. And people were happy about that. But they were like, boo, boo. But actually, we're great. We're happy that you finally won a big major championship title. It's such a uniquely WWE thing. Uniquely wrestling thing. Not WWE thing, wrestling thing. Is it okay if I would say Roman Reigns was like Shawn Michaels? Bigger. at this point, I would say that Roman Reigns has become a bigger name than Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was very big, don't get me wrong. But at this point, Roman Reigns is seen as bigger than Shawn Michaels. And I'm talking about in their prime too. Prime Shawn Michaels is... I'm not talking about wrestling ability. If you're talking about wrestling ability, I will argue maybe Shawn. But you're talking about in terms of popularity, in terms of name recognition, in both their primes, Roman Reigns by a slight margin. Yep. So big dog. Not much to say here. Not much to say. This one was a little bit more tongue in cheek. This point was a little bit more tongue in cheek. This one, however, I'm not even going to read it out in full. And before anyone writes anything spicy, remember what I said back at the beginning. I am still an active VTuber, who very much involves himself with the VTuber industry. I am still an active professional wrestler who still actively involves himself with part of the pro wrestling industry. So I can't say too much either because I'll end up jeopardizing myself. And that's the last thing I want to do. I see. Right? Spicy. I'm okay with that. It helps that I don't fully understand this reference. I think. This one I understand. This one I do understand. Because with this particular individual, I can talk about a little bit more. So if I were to rephrase this point here, is that it is almost a guarantee. If I were to rephrase this point, is that it is almost a guarantee that household names will be screwed by their respective companies. And no, Subaru, you may not rant about it. This is not the place for it. Even though I am talking about things that are a bit more behind the scenes, I do not wish to get into certain details because it will get into certain topics that my channel is not equipped to handle. I am not the right place to talk about it. And in some ways, I feel it is almost tasteless to talk about it, especially in my channel, where I'm trying to be so diplomatic and careful about these things. Doesn't mean that they are free of criticism. Don't get me wrong. You know, especially because both VTubing and pro wrestling, they have done respective talents dirty. No, I'm just gonna explain how they got the meme. Still no. For the simple fact that this particular point is referring to someone specifically referring to someone that things got very, very messy. You know, if you want to seek that info out on your own, then you may do so. Onto your own. I do want to say though that the Montreal screwed up is thoroughly explained. It has been well documented for certain. And so, you know, it is unfortunately a bit of an unfortunate fact that sometimes the VTuber agencies, the wrestling promotions will screw over their own talents. That is a fact that will happen sometimes, you know. That will happen, unfortunately. Why? Due to valuing different things, due to prioritizing different things, due to sometimes outright malpractice, due to sometimes outright the company itself doesn't know how to handle these things. And I'm not saying that that their intentions what's the word? I'm not saying even if it's by accident or by ignorance, that doesn't mean that they're free of fault at all. Quite the opposite of that, you know. So it gets to the point where things can get so blurry sometimes that it is very unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. Man, as you can tell, I don't know if I can say much about it because it's getting into behind the scene things that are
even if I know more what happened behind the scenes, I don't know if I should, you know? So yeah, it can be unfortunate sometimes. There are actual legal implications, which is not really best to discuss here. That's actually a very good point there that you have, Jason. That's a very good point. There are some legit legal implications where I'd rather not talk about it because there are stuff happening right now or even in the past where we don't know for sure. There are legal things that makes things more on the NDA non-disclosure side, where you only really know about it if you're actually in the whole legal environment of it, and therefore, what I would rather say is this ain't my business. This ain't my business. I will want to know more about it just because I as a VTuber want to be more educated about it and how to protect myself about this, especially with both. Oh man. Like if I were to give my own if I were to use myself as an example, so this is a more minor example. There was one time where I was, not to say sort of getting screwed over by another company. I wouldn't say that. But it would have made me do something where I don't think I should have. You know, where I don't think I should have be doing a certain thing. I asked for advice from a more senior wrestler on how should I go about it, and I was told to still take the job anyways, but maybe like communicate more with them as to my current status, and then that's what I did. So I went and told this particular company, hey, I'll do the job for you. But I just want to let you know that I'm also this thing at the same time. By this thing, I mean I was a title holder. I was a title holder at the time, and they were like, "Oh no!" And because they didn't realize at the time, and I don't blame them that they didn't realize I was holding a title at the time, because that does change bookings a little bit. So I still did the job, but I didn't have to bring my title along with me. So when you watch. Let's say if you were to watch that particular wrestling show, I didn't have a title with me. It wasn't relevant to their story at all, you know? That sort of a thing. So there are sometimes, so luckily that there are certain times where you can communicate yourself out of your way for certain things. And then there are definitely some situations where there can be a breakdown in communication, unfortunately. You really want to avoid that? I would say any chance where you can avoid a communication and breakdown. So this is never mind VTubing or wrestling. This is just IRL. Communication is fucking key, guys. It really, really is. If you don't communicate, something terribly can go wrong in wrestling and VTubing, in accounting, in engineering, yada yada yada. You know, even when it seems like pretty nasty business to a pretty nasty and things will get awkward because you had to communicate. It's better to communicate than to end up facing this terrible disaster. You know, I've had to fess up mistake that I've made before in the past, and I wasn't happy about this and that, and I was reprimanded as a result. But what's the alternative? Creating this huge disaster as a result? I can't. No. Even in VTubing, there were times where I had to communicate this and that to avoid creating a bigger problem. You know, that sort of a thing. I understand that, especially in VTubing, where there's so many young people. Eager people, people that just want to just VTube, but they don't understand that in order to be professional, you have to fucking communicate. It's so important to. I can even say this about professional wrestling, actually. Again, young, eager people that maybe aren't that much as mature as they think they are.
and so they end up doing things that's either above their ability, or they do things for themselves, and they don't understand the further implications of it, and they pay the price for it. Mind you, I'm making it very clear. I'm not. I am being very general here. I'm talking about in general here. Yeah. I don't even have to like point fingers at anyone. No need for that at all. So yeah. I think I'll put away this last point because the more I see it, the more icky it gets, especially by this one here. Never mind this one. This one here is the one that still icks me to this day. Freaking wrecked his own legacy. My goodness. Oh, actually, you know what we could do? I did want to do this. I want to now create more points of this. Can you guys think up of any more points to this, actually? Ooh, yeah. You guys got any ideas? Let's see. Any more similarities between YouTubers and wrestling? I got one right now. Costume changes? No. I can go. I can take one further than that. Both VTubing and wrestling and professional wrestling's gears. So, gear in both wrestling and VTubing is freaking expensive. So what do I mean by gear? So for VTubing, that's referring to your streaming setup, your VTuber model itself, the various assets. God dang, it's pricey. Oh my goodness. It's pricey. Oh my goodness, it's pricey. Like, my mask, IRL and virtual, both are in 4 digits in Malaysian ringgit. Oh, is it really that pricey for wrestling? Are you kidding me? Especially. So maybe when you start off, when you just started wrestling, you'll see it. You know, people tend to have more basic gear. It's stuff that you can buy from Shopee. Maybe you can tweak it a little bit, but ultimately, nothing really super expensive. But when you want to take things further, when you want to do this long term, you need the gear that's more ideal, that's flexible, that pops, that gets people's attention. I mean, god dang, were these booty shorts expensive? These booty shorts were expensive because it's custom made and it's form fitting. And so therefore, it's pricey. And it's stitched too. It's all hand stitched too. How about when wrestlers have their own costume designer? Yeah, that can cost money too. That does cost money, in fact. The way how they captivate the audience, I can see how they both have their way. Oh, okay. You're referring to an entirely different point. We'll get to that later. So yes, it's very pricey. Very, very pricey. And then on the other hand, VTubing, there's almost like 2 layers to it. There's your streaming setup, so your microphone, your what you use to actually motion track, so that's your physical hardware. Your software is your software, you know, your VTuber model, your assets, even so things like even like sound effects, all these things that you custom made. Yeah, that can add up. Obviously, when you start off as a PNG tuber, you know, if it's just a single PNG, that doesn't cost too much. But even when you want to slowly like upgrade, like go into a full-on movable model with toggles and all that, God, I've got so many toggles. You have no idea. Like dung 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 dung. See, so many. Yep, adds up. Does the shorts have special lighting to avoid chafing? Why are you guys are obsessed with my shorts, for Pete's sakes. No. It's snug. It's snug. It really shows off my bottom, I'll tell you that much. Very, very happy with that. So I don't think there's any special lining. It's just very, very well made. And therefore, it will last me close to a lifetime. I wouldn't say a lifetime, but close to one. Let's see. So yeah, both can be pricey. And sometimes both might not be worth it. It's really up to you as to how you want to perceive it as worth it or worthwhile, or how to make it worthwhile. I'm definitely trying to take this to a trajectory where it does become worthwhile. Let's see, what else we have? The way how they captivate the audience? No, I would say that's different. I would say that is a difference. Because how you captivate an audience is very different. Because for one, in wrestling, you are exerting your body, using your body as a canvas, as a prop even, as a stunt object. In VTubing, no, you're using primarily your personality, how you plan your streams, how you game, and whatever topic you want to cover. So yeah, really, really different in that sense. Do you agree that both have cool intro? VTubers have intro when stream starts. Wrestlers have banger intro soundtracks. Okay, I can actually. This does sort of fall a bit into costuming, actually. Both are aesthetics centric. Both are flesh trades. What do you mean by both are flesh trades? I mean, let's face it. Let's face it here. There's a reason why a lot of VTubers have big boobies. Gigantic boobies. Sometimes more than 2 boobies. Sorry. Because it's eye-catching. It's captivating. There are other ways to captivate and get your attention. Most certainly. I dare say some of you guys were intrigued by me by virtue of me being a VTuber that has a mask. Even though a VTuber model is by nature a mask already, I'm putting on another mask. So I'm double protected. And so that's the same way with wrestling too. There's a reason why we go to the gym. Partly to look strong, to gain functional strength, but it's also to look freaking good. We wear all these flashy outfits to captivate the people's attention. So we have to, and even for at least for the female wrestlers, there's a reason why a lot of female wrestlers' outfits is kind of revealing. They show off what they got. No, not just boobs either, but like their abs, their booties. There's a lot of wrestlers, they will literally wrestle in just like trunks. Like there are some wrestlers, they will literally just wrestle in like short tights, and literally not even wrist straps or boots or knee pads. I don't know how some of those wrestlers do it. They're insane. And even me, these days I wrestle shirtless, without my booty shorts, because I think that these days I actually have a decent body for it now. I've been hitting the gym. I'm actually very happy with how I physically looked. In my last match against Blazing Raj. So aesthetics do matter in both VTubing and professional wrestling. There is no escaping this, man. There is no escaping this.
Ooh, here's an evil one. Most of those who start doing it will not make money from it. I would say I can rephrase this in a more diplomatic way. Most of those, it is the barrier of entry in order to make this profitable is incredibly hard. Yeah. To make VTubing and pro wrestling profitable is incredibly difficult. Not impossible, just really, really, really tough. I'm actually very happy to say that that a few of my fellow Malaysian wrestlers, not to say that they can turn this full time, but they have been able to make a profit out of it. I'm very happy to hear to say that has been for certain, for some at least. It's pretty darn hard, but I'm very happy to see that even though Malaysian VTubing is still in its infancy, it's still really young, there's been some that's legit been able to make a living, if not make a living out of it, then at least been able to do very well for themselves with it, and be able to really grow their channel and become a genuinely strong brand for themselves. I'm very happy to see that. With Malaysian pro wrestling, there is one exception to this, and he travels to the USA on a semi-regular basis. His name is Shaukat. He's the founder of Malaysian Pro Wrestling, so I'm very happy for him. So it's tough. It's tough with pro wrestling, because it's tough. It's tough because I mean, just to become a pro wrestler itself is already difficult. How to market yourself as a pro wrestler is another level altogether. Now, how to monetize yourself as a pro wrestler is a whole different ball game, even. Wrestling do be like that. It's about showing how cool you look or how intriguing you look. I'm not saying you have to go the way of the sexy all the time. No. And sometimes overdoing it it's not the way that you should be doing it. It might be almost contradicting your own character. Like if you're yes, sometimes, sexy mailman, sexy undertaker, sexy uptown lowlife does have its perks, does grab the attention. If you're trying to work on a particular storyline, but you got this whole sexy thing about you, you're working a more serious storyline, like say that your teammate was brutally hurt by your opponent, and you want to get revenge. Are you still gonna be sexy? Are you still gonna wear a sexy outfit that fit, that sort of a thing? So even with VTubing, you gotta be a bit careful with that sort of a thing. Just thought of this. Both struggle with starting their careers, and there's never a shorthand of fans that will support their Oshis through thick and thin. This can be seen in VTubers idols, but I don't know. This feels hard because to engage people, especially when you're starting off as a pro wrestler, that's hard. To be something that generally captivates people, that's hard. I like to think I've been able to do that because, and this is going to sound strange, but I've been able to create a brand for myself where, people have bought merch from me before, and I've been very grateful and happy for that. And that's probably, but that's been, when did I actually start selling merch? I started selling merch. Was it when I became a VTuber? Or was it beforehand? No. It only was when I became a VTuber. Then I had the confidence to start selling my own merch as a wrestler. I think. Ryan, help me out here. Did I start selling wrestling merch as a wrestler before or after I became a VTuber? Sorry, Cornelius, did you already answer my question? Was your question the alter ego one? Alter ego, one VTuber has different versions. Reminds me of when Kane took off his mask. I still remember that thing after the WWE story. There can be different versions of yourself. Yes. There can be different versions of yourself. Kind of like how Gao Gura, you know, she will have the original default outfit, but she also has a more casual daily outfit, and she can have special occasion outfits. Wrestlers can have the same as well. Wrestlers can have different outfits, and they can be either upgraded outfits or they can be like almost like alternate versions depending on what you want. Kane, for example, he's still Kane. He is still Kane, you know, just different versions of himself. Like he was corporate Kane. There is the maskless bald Kane. There is obviously the original fully costumed in the red outfit Kane. But those are still Kane. Just different phases in his life, different versions of Kane. But it's still Kane. Kind of like me. Like when I first debuted, I was in a black mask. But then I upgraded into what I really wanted, which is this white mask. Mick Foley confused me though. He's different. He's different. Now this is truly someone that really played with blurring the lines between fiction and reality, because he was also what's the word I'm looking for? He was Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind. All these are three different wrestlers. I won't even say three different alter egos. These are three different wrestlers. Alter ego implies that it's like Clark Kent becoming Superman. They're both the same human being, but we differentiate Clark Kent and Superman because they are trying to be two different personalities. Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love, they are three different characters. Maybe not outfits, but different versions. Like Altair being hero and Regis being a demon god king as an example. Yeah. No, wait. No. Yeah. But the same VTuber. Like normal Finn Balor and demon Finn Balor. Yeah. So that's an alter ego. I think. Yeah. As for what was it? So I think I only started selling merch in general only when I became a VTuber. I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, I started selling those little badges. I started selling those little badges that had the word "low" on it. I think. Ollie is Sally and Olivia. No. Sally and Olivia are two different characters. They're two different characters altogether. Also, I did not mention. We are talking about alter ego, so I guess it's fine. Just me being persnickety. Just me being pedantic. So basically, in conclusion, VTubing and professional wrestling has many parallels with each other. These are two forms of entertainment that very much has a lot of parallels going for them, where they both do very similar things, just in very different ways through different mediums. But they both very much touch on the lines of. But they are both forms of entertainment that both blurs reality and fiction. It has no choice but to blur reality and fiction. Because they both involve real people playing real larger than life characters, doing incredible projects that challenges the mind, body, and soul. It can be as small as you want it to be, and it can be as large as a stadium. VTubing has gotten to the point where if they want to do a live VTuber concert, it can fill up as large as a stadium. Professional wrestling has already been filling up stadiums for more than a century. I do believe there is a lot to learn from both. I believe both can learn a lot from one another. I mean, put it this way. We've already seen a lot of intersecting between
VTubing and wrestling as it is. No greater example than perhaps WrestleTuber 2024, hosted by Doki Bird, and Fuamoko wrestling each other, but under the supervision of DDT. I hope both VTubing and pro wrestling do really well next year. I hope so too, so that I can benefit from both. And I think that's a perfect place to end it here, folks. I hope this has been an enlightening and educational, and most importantly, entertaining journey. I do hope indeed that we can explore this intersection of VTubing and professional wrestling even more, and perhaps even deliberate and be that spearhead for that intersection itself. WrestleTuber was a blast. Indeed. I want to see Lo in the next WrestleTuber hype. Hey, you know exactly who to email for that. So please do word it in a polite and professional manner. That's all I can say. Well, folks, I believe this will be my final stream for this week. Do look forward to my upcoming schedule, because next week is gonna be, I'll be doing some interesting things. Indeed. If you haven't yet, folks, please do follow me please do follow me in my socials, be it TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and all that jazz. If you haven't yet, please do give me a subscribe. Share this post if you can. If you see anything interesting you want to clip, please clip away. Because in my Discord server, which you can join in the description down below, there is a channel just for clips, and you can submit it there for everyone to watch and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Cornelius, though. Cafe Cornelius is now closing shop, but may Cafe Cornelius never close in your hearts. Have a lovely night, Mina. Have a lovely night.